A resident atheist, agnostic, Jim B. Jim said finally, wait a minute, Bill, it's okay with me, but may I make one suggestion? I was ready for a fight. I said, what's that? He said, whenever you do mention the word God, could you at least add, as we understood him? I said, okay. So we had our 12 steps. We had our book. The only thing missing was a title. In humility, I suggested the Bill Wilson movement, but they shot that down right away. Go figure, you know. Well, then we were going to call it 100 Men because there were 100 men sober at that time, 6 months or more, and thank God finally the first woman qualified. You couldn't say 100 men plus a woman. Then we were going to call it The Way Out, but there were already 12 titles, The Way Out. We didn't want to be number 13. We were stuck. We didn't know what to call it. Then one night, back at a meeting in New York, they carried a fellow in from Bellevue who was dying, Joe W. And Joe at one time had helped get the New Yorker magazine started. Brilliant fellow. They brought him in, but he was in bad shape. And we used to refer to ourselves at that period as an unknown bunch of drunks. And he picked up on that night. And as bad as he was, he sort of disassembled and reassembled it because he began to babble. Anonymous alcoholics, anonymous alcoholics. And finally got too loud and they scooped him, brought him back to the hospital where he died not too long after. But that stayed in the room. Anonymous alcoholics. Finally, one fellow said, let's call the book that. And I thought it was a great name. We called Akron. They said, fine. Let's get this thing published. But at the last meeting, after a few more changes to the book, one fellow raised his hand and said, no. He said, why don't you put the alcoholic first? That's more important. So we called it Alcoholics Anonymous, which became the name of our society. And we sent that to the publisher, but we only had one little piece of mischief left. This book was going to sell for $3.50, so we decided to print the first editions in thick paper to make it look like it would be worth $3.50. That's why you call it the big book. Subsequent copies are in regular paper. Boy, we just tried to pull the wool over your eyes, I guess. Some people said it was because the pages wouldn't tear when you turned them, but this was just to make it look like it was worth $3.50. But anyway, we printed 5,000 copies. We sold 102. The girl bought 2. But that's another night, and it's another story. I have a train to catch and a friend to bury. You'll have to invite me back to hear all of that. Suffice it to say that the book, though, is only a suggestion. We don't have all the answers. God lets you know what you have to do. Just ask Him when you say your prayers in the morning, how can I help the man or the woman that is still sick and still suffering? And the answers will come, but only if you have your own house in order. You can't give away what you don't have. See to it that your relationship with your higher power is right, and great events will happen to you. That is the great fact for us. That's the magnificent reality of AA. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to another human being. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find here, and you'll have a full, happy, joyful life. You know, our program, AA, is utter simplicity, wrapped in a mystery that nobody, least of all me, understands perfectly. Our strength comes from our weakness, the fact that we know who and what we are. Humiliation before resurrection, and pain. Pain is not only the price you have to pay, it is the touchstone of any spiritual rebirth. You have to go through pain, the pain of the 12 steps, but at least be easy because we help each other go through that process. This group, is celebrating its first anniversary. Be grateful for that. Be grateful for the change of consciousness that is brought about. But I beg of you, please, don't depend upon it for 1 minute for the needs of today. The art of life is to live one day at a time, 1 minute, 1 moment, and make that moment as perfect as you can. I'm beginning to preach now to the saved, so it's time to leave. Let me thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to share some of the moments of my life with you today, and of Bob's life. They were right. It has been a big, big help for me, and I am grateful. I'm not looking forward to what has to be coming about in the next couple of days, but I'm stronger for coming here tonight. And I really want to thank you for allowing me to share with you. And I would ask you to be here, though, when I come back, because I'll need more of you then than perhaps I need tonight. So please be here. I'm grateful, though, for one thing that happened last weekend. I was with Bob. I'm very grateful for that. I spent Sunday with him. And although he was in a great deal of pain and he had the operation on Tuesday to look forward to, I had all of his attention. And you had all of his love and his concern. And it was a good meeting. And you're going to hear more about it in the springtime, so I won't bother you with it tonight. But when it was over, I got up to leave, but Bob joined me. I didn't think he would, but he struggled to his feet, and together we made our way to the door. And it took time, but it was all right. I was about ready to leave when he stopped me, and he said, "Wait a minute, Bill." And he inched over to the hall closet and opened it and reached up, and he took down this old Irish country hat, and he handed it to me and he said, "Here, Bill, it's raining outside. Put this on. I don't want you to get wet. I don't want you to catch a cold. You've got too much work to do." And then he gave me a hug, which was also unusual for Bob. But I didn't say a word. I was speechless. I dare not say a word. You see, I have wanted this hat for 15 years. My God, I've swiped it from him a number of times. Whenever I came home with it, Lois would put it in an envelope and send it back to him. It was kind of a running joke. But here he was handing me this hat, so I just figured I better keep my mouth shut. And I was walking down to my car, and I turned back to look at the house, and he was still standing there. And he had his hand raised, almost like in a benediction, and he just said to me, "Hey, Bill, don't louse this thing up. Keep it simple." He's been saying that to me, too, for years. Keep it simple. And I turned away, little realizing it was going to be the last time I would see him alive, and I didn't know it. Oh. When I got the news today, how I wished that I had known it, because I would have made more of it. But I didn't know. And then, this afternoon, coming over here, I took this hat off the rack in my office, and I realized then, it dawned on me, that Bob knew it. Bob knew it was our last time. You see, it wasn't raining. It wasn't raining in Akron that night. He had just found a lovely way to say goodbye to me. And in so doing, teach me again what this whole thing, this AA, is all about. It's nothing more than one person passing something on to another. Whether it's some experience from their life, some strength they have, a vision of hope, a hug, and only once a hat. That's now just full of memories. I pray it lasts forever. Good night, and God bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you.